Welcome to the Wealth by Choice podcast. My name is Valerie Shira, and I'm a stay-at-home mom who turned entrepreneur. Each week, we bring you stories and wisdom from individuals who have broken the code to generating wealth. Thanks so much for being here with me today. Let's get started. All right, welcome to the Wealth by Choice podcast. Today, I have with me Justin Wozniak. And I'm going to read a little bit about Justin. Justin is a friend from a MIH group. He was once a highly recruited engineer who turned full-time multifamily mogul at 25 years old. With just over $1 million in equity created and $130,000 in wholesale profits in the last 2 years, Justin is an expert at finding off-market and direct-to-seller deals. With his proven no-stress DTS process, he's helping other investors launch their very own direct-to-seller businesses. Check him out as the Cashflow Cowboy on social media as he logs his journey to 300 units by 30 years old. Justin, thank you so much for coming today. I'm really excited to have you on the show.
Thanks, Valerie. I'm very excited. You nailed the last name, so good stuff there. I appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you.
Good. Well, hey, I'm going to just throw it out there. I'm one of Justin's newest DTS system clients, and I'm really excited about working with him and finding off-market deals. But before we get into any of that, because I do want to talk about that today, why would a highly recruited engineer turn multifamily investor? Let's just hit that right there.
Yeah, you probably because I had a few screws loose is what I would assume, but in reality, I think what a lot of people in the real estate realm end up finding out is at some point, whether you're 25 years old when I made the transition, or you're 65 years old and retiring or something like that, everybody looks at real estate as a vehicle for financial freedom, right? Like we've heard that a million times in our investing. And so I just happened to be exposed to that vehicle early. I was around the right people. I heard it enough times. I listened to the right podcasts. I read the right books. And I was at a point in my life where, I had a long-term relationship, but I didn't have, I didn't have a wife, didn't have kids, didn't have this family built up, didn't have all these bills, right? So at 25 years old, I looked at myself and I said, I can make this transition now, or, it's probably not going to happen for 10, 15 years, right? So that's what I did. And it was a huge risk, quote unquote risk, because I left a safe, secure job, high paying, nice engineering salary that I worked my tail off at the university to get. But then realized that, hey, if I do this switch now, it'll be like short term, it'll be tough, right? A little bit turbulent short term. But then in the long term, like you mentioned at the end of my bio there, 300 units by 30, at that point, I'm quote unquote looking at retirement in my 30s, right? So that's a totally different situation than if I had that W-2, the engineering job, where it would have been a nice salary, but you're still not looking at retirement until you're 50, 60 years old. So that was kind of what I wanted. I wanted to fast track it. So I did something a little crazy. My family thought I was crazy, but it's really worked out. And we've because we've sourced so many off-market deals, I feel it's been a roller coaster, but it's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable. We're starting to feel a lot better about just like day-to-day safe, secure through real estate versus safe, secure through a W-2 income.
Sure. Well, let me ask this. Why didn't you just become a high income earner and just put that passively into real estate? Did you love real estate and you're like, I just want to make my career there? Or, what was your mindset behind that? Because there's a couple different ways you can get into real estate.
Valerie with the hard-hitting questions this morning. Full transparency, I think at the time I didn't really realize that there was a passive route to real estate, right? Through syndications, right? You can stay as if you love your job, right? We're probably speaking the same language here, is like stay in your job, but then use real estate as the side hustle, right? So invest passively with some trusted operators, start building up the passive income, but then maybe, later on you can use it as a way of retiring early or kind of choosing, traveling more or whatever you want to do, financial independence wise there. But I just thought, hey, I have to go buy the properties myself. That was like my thought process is like, I have to go buy real estate so that I can. That's that way of doing it. But I did it, so there's no going back now. But and then the other side of that is I think maybe if I would have enjoyed where I was a little bit more job wise. My big thing, as you've probably known from being around me, Valerie, is I love people. I love people. Love talking, communicating, being around them. What happened with the job that I was in, it was a lot of, as an engineer, it was a lot of quote unquote talking to machines, right? I was working with machines and doing this and that, and I'm like, where's the people at? I just want to talk to the people. So I think I probably wanted to get out of that situation, as well as not really understanding the full realm of what possibilities within the real estate investing umbrella.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I love that you pointed that out, because sometimes you just hear everyone saying, quit your job, get into real estate, quit your job. And it's like, well, wait a minute. We need everybody. If everybody stopped their job and went into real estate, like, it wouldn't even make sense anymore. But like, it really boils down to what your passion is. Do you love your job? Well, then don't quit it. Just be the best that you can in that specific field. Become that high income earner and put that money into real estate. But like what you did is you loved people, you loved the space. I mean, you're so passionate about real estate. It's always so much fun to listen to you and your YouTube channel. You can tell that you love that. And for you to make a career in real estate makes so much sense. So I love that you pointed that out.
Yes.
Now, in this transition, what made you go off market? Let's talk a little bit about that. Like, traditionally, when you think I'm going to go buy real estate, you're thinking, okay, if you're in residential, you're thinking, agents and real estate, all that. Then if you're commercial, you're thinking, well, you go to the brokers. Why did you go directly to the sellers?
Well, Valerie, I was a 20-year-old with no money and no experience, or the banks didn't want to give me any money or anything like that, and the brokers weren't going to take me serious. So I decided, all right, I'll go find my own deals, right? And that's what I did. And so I think one of the big things is I still have broker relations, so that's like another piece to the off-market puzzle, is you still need to be building those. But if you're new, just getting started, and really the value provided is you got that hustle, going direct to seller is a great way of contributing to a partnership, right? If I have a deal but I have no money, I still have an ability to buy that because I can go find the money from other partners. And, usually they could be doctors, lawyers, engineers that love their job, that are working really hard, now have capital, but they don't have the time to go out and find a good deal. There's a beautiful partnership right there, right? Capital and the deal come together and everybody's happy. We all hold hands, sing kumbaya. So that was what I needed to do. I figured, like, if I want to get to 300 units by 30, sitting around and waiting for just brokers to send me deals, it wasn't going to work, right? Because one, they don't trust me right now because I don't have the experience. And two, if anyone's been paying attention to the market, especially right now, there's nothing. It's crickets out there as far as good deals. So it was not going to happen waiting for the deals to come to me. So I got proactive and I started going after the deals myself, going directly to the owners, directly to the potential sellers, and asking them, do you want to sell your property? Do you want to hear an offer to sell your property? And we've done really well in the last 2.5 years since doing that.
That's awesome. So basically, it's just a piece of the puzzle in your pipeline that's bringing deals for you, or that's bringing opportunities, possible leads, into your workflow. And that's something, people need to think about, when you're looking for real estate, when you're looking for deals, there's not really any one answer. It's a combination of a lot of different places that you can kind of pull in leads, and you just get that flow coming in, so that and it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, I'm sure you know that really well, and people listening, you expect to jump into real estate within a couple months, you're finding great deals. Well, it just doesn't usually happen that way. It takes time to actually build that funnel and build that pipeline to start getting deals on a consistent basis coming in for you to evaluate and to start looking to see if you find something that you want to purchase.
You said,
let's talk a little bit about your...
Good. I was going to hop in on that. You said something very important, and it does involve direct to seller there. And you said, people think that they're just going to pick it up and tomorrow they're going to have all these leads coming in. And what people don't understand is, if it was that easy, more people would be doing it, and you wouldn't have the ability to add any value there, and then you never find any deals. It's not easy per se, but if you systematize it right? I come from the engineering background. Systems and processes, if you put that together, you can make it much, much easier. And then if you combine that with the right mindset, right, and the right hustle, then it's almost guaranteed over the long haul that you will be having success, right? You're building almost like a book of business relationships. You're building relationships. So early on, you have none, right? And then you start stacking them. They start overlapping. Next thing you know, you do have that consistent deal flow, which is what we're all going for. Because, Valerie, maybe you've seen this when you guys are just getting started. When your team is super small direct to seller, or if it's just you doing direct to seller, you're wearing all the hats in the business. So hat number one is you're finding, a source of properties, like a list of properties you want to go after. So you're going through the process, getting those, you're filtering them out, and then, all right, let me add them to my system, whether it's a CRM or whether you're just brand spanking new and you're just tracking on like a Google Sheet or something like that, all those leads and leaving notes. So now you're the one calling and texting, or maybe you're sending out mailers and stuff. You're like, all right, this is going well, and then you start getting some leads, and you're like, all right, let's dive into those, let's build that relationship. Now what happens is this is where the inefficiencies start to creep in, and a lot of people don't realize it. When you're first getting started and wearing all the hats, now you're the one following up with those leads, but then you stop calling the new leads, right? You start marketing new leads, so then you've stopped there. Now it's like, all right, maybe one of those turns into a potential deal. All right, you're talking offers. All right, let's meet this guy in person. Let's go talk to him. Oh my goodness, we got it under contract. Let's go. And then you work that through the deal funnel, which is, due diligence or whatever. And let's say in due diligence, you get the inspection back. No go. This is, okay, there are some foundational issues that this deal is done. That was 2-month process right there. And you've completely neglected all your new leads, all your kind of small relationship leads that you had, and you're almost restarting again, like you're going back to the lead funnel. So what we've had to do is we learned that the hard way, where you'd almost have like you work a lead through and then you have to restart, and there's so much inefficiency there. So that's why we've built these systems, which you guys have as one of our clients, and then why we've kind of show everyone how we've scaled, because it's very important to keep the lead funnels going while you're also dealing with potential, deals actually closing on properties.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's almost like, what we've done. Up to this point, we're that. That is us. You do the calls, you get a lead, and you press pause.
Yes.
You basically press pause, and you follow up with that lead, or maybe you have a couple if you're good. You've got a couple you're simultaneously following up with, and then once those either end or you get them, whatever, then you have to go all the way back to the beginning and press play again. And it's very choppy. And I listen to a lot of Pace Morby. I'm a big Pace Morby fan, but I was listening to something he said the other day, and he was talking about the 1%. The 1% that actually do the thing. You start out with these sometimes challenges or, whatever. And you have a ton of people who are like, yeah, let's go do it, rah, rah. And you get going, and by the time you get to the end, there's only 1% left. And it's just an average. It's like a law. And, it's not that it's hard, like you mentioned, but it's persistence. It's changing from looking at the result to, did I do the thing today? Did I do the thing today? Knowing that if you just do the thing, in 6 months, it's inevitable. Yep. It's a law, the law of numbers. You'll have that deal under contract. Obviously there's other things that play in, but as a general rule, it's that little day-to-day commitment that you're doing that matters, not the big result that you're looking for sometimes immediately.
Exactly. Yeah, I think anyone who's like, all right, the 900,000 in 90 days or something like that being preached in real estate, I would say run away from that, because that's not someone who really understands what we're doing here and utilizing real estate as an investment vehicle for long-term wealth building. Like, it's not a get-rich quick, right? But it is a get extremely wealthy over time, right? And that same mindset is what is necessary in the direct to seller, right? At first, it's going to be a little rough. You might get a couple leads here and there to just kind of keep your momentum going. But if you're in it for the long haul and you are consistent, right? You mentioned when you have to reset, you lose your consistency with those leads. So you're almost starting fresh, right? So if you called someone And then, 6 months later, you call them back. They don't know who they've completely forgotten about you. So what you're doing is you're resetting. So it's almost like you're calling them cold again, rather than how we have it structured. And if you have a good system that's telling you when to follow up with people automatically, then it's, hey, you're following up. You're referencing something that you talked about when you were on the phone. Hey, something about their kids, maybe their kids' hockey practice, or they were going to get surgery or something like that. Then they go, ding, I remember Justin. Let's continue that relationship. So now you've now talked to this person over the course of multiple months, and they remember you, which is important. And that's how you start building those relationships that, hey, once it is time for them to sell, they're thinking Justin or they're thinking Valerie for that sale. And they're not going to, that's like, we know they're serious. We know they're good. We have a relationship with them. We don't want to worry about having to list it on the market and do all that stuff. They're going to give me my price, and we're all going to walk away as a win-win. So that's why I love the direct-to-seller. I know if I'm consistent and if I can build those relationships, right, the people person in me, that I will be that 1% that's there at the end, because we're just longevity. We're beating out everyone else.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. For sure. And that's one thing I'm excited. I mean, everybody knows we have Streamline, the virtual assistant agency, and we're able to plug in that and use virtual assistants. And so as we're getting that DTS system from you, I'm going to be plugging in a cold calling VA, a skip tracer. We're going through all the things so that that's still running in the background, and it's not me anymore. It's not me doing all of that background stuff. We can take the leads that are warm and, nurture them, build those relationships, but in the background, the engine is always running, and that's the whole point of it. Maybe you could talk a little bit. I kind of know the answers to these, but maybe tell me a little bit exactly what your system is. What do you include in it? How does it work? Maybe we could talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So we are under the mindset, like I've done well, right? You mentioned it in the bio. We've created just the deals in the last 2.5 years. We've been able to buy at such a good discount that we've created over $1 million in equity in those already. Right, and some of those as well in the pipeline, we've just decided to wholesale, and we've made massive profits on those, $130K in the last 2 years. So the system works, and it's the exact system that I've used in my business. But there was a point actually beginning of this year where I realized that there was a need for other people. So everybody wants to go direct to seller and market direct to seller. They just lack the consistency because they don't know, like, there's softwares involved here. We're talking, integrations with calling and texting systems, technology, right? So some people just want to get on the phone and start talking to potential owners, right? That's what they want. So what I did was I essentially packaged everything that we use in our business, resources, CRM, sent it out, and then everybody, like, no excuse, right? You have everything you need to do direct to seller. But what I realized, Valerie, you mentioned it with the 1%, right? Pace more, the 1% that's left at the end. We all, as humans, need a little bit of accountability, right? So, yes, I could hand you the fishing pole and teach you how to fish. And if I'm not there fishing with you, you might not actually go and go catch your fish. So what we've done is we've implemented also exclusive monthly calls just for our DTS clients, where everybody gets together, we talk strategy. So there's an element of accountability, there's an element of coaching, and you just get to learn, about education of direct to seller. And, if time allows at the end, that people get to bring their deals that they're working on, and we all get to work through those together, right? So it's almost like a masterminding and accountability together, because I know it's going to fall off, right? So we packaged all this stuff. It's thousands of dollars worth of value that, we've slashed the price down significantly. My business model is not selling systems, right? That's not how I make my money. I make my money on buying off market deals, right? So we wanted to make it affordable for everyone who wants to get started and wants to start finding these amazing off market deals that, we find every day, and we want other people to find, because it is, in my mind, if you're waiting around for the broker to send you a deal, you're not going to buy as many deals in a year as I will, right? It's just simply, I am out hustling, hitting the streets for it. But you mentioned, Valerie, with your VAs, we've done that as well. So if you think about it, the one downside to direct to seller, right? Full transparency is that it's a business, right? You're buying into a business. When you work with a broker, you just have to have a good relationship with the broker, and they're the ones sending you the deal, right? So now you're responsible for finding the deals. So that is another key component is you get to the inside workings of how our business runs and how we've scaled, right? You get to see exactly how I scaled, how I've brought in VAs, how I've brought in partners. We're across multiple markets and how we have partners in each market, how it flows through our business. That is invaluable stuff. So that's like some of the things is, yes, we'll get you started with a system, but then we'll also help you scale through the business and make it where it's not a chore at the end of the day. It's more of a self-sufficient system that's just constantly producing you off-market leads.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, going from what we're coming from, which is index cards, writing these properties on index cards, taping on,
Wow.
I know, Justin, just close your eyes for a second.
That's even more. I thought Google Sheet was rough. That's like physically printing out the leads and putting them on the wall.
Hey, be easy on me. No, but it's true. I mean, that's what I started with, just the index cards. And, this way I'm flipping through, putting them through, organizing them. And coming from that, where you just kind of have these kind of loose papers everywhere, I'll be honest, it's not pretty, but coming from that to an organized system where you log in and you have all the information on that property. We actually did transfer over to Podio before that, so that was like my very, very original thing. So then we started using Podio, but we didn't have any integrations, no dialers, built in, no real systems within Podio. It was just kind of a place a CRM to store the properties. But to be able to have that where it's all organized, the conversations that we're having with the sellers are going to be organized in there, and all that kind of stuff. And then when you add on top of that, like you said, the accountability and the ability to be able to look behind the curtain and say, okay, this is how a DTS system works. That's invaluable. It's a no-brainer. I mean, why would you spend years figuring this out on your own when somebody's like, hey, look, just join the tribe? So that's kind of where we're, really excited about implementing that. Going from the actual system that you guys offer, can we peel back and look at one of the deals that you got kind of using that system? Maybe pick one of the deals if you want to, how you got it, what that might have looked like with the seller. Maybe we could even talk about the value of the deal versus what might have been on market. I don't know. What do you think? What do you want to
I'd
talk
love
about,
to.
Justin,
Yeah.
as far as
So
deal-wise?
let's dive in. Okay. So I got two deals come to mind. The first one, just to kind of blow everyone's minds here, is the first apartment building that we purchased. It was off market through a text message. Gentleman owned a 10-unit property, and all he wanted, 10-unit property, mom and pop owner. He wanted $350,000 for a 1995 build property, and everyone's probably like, $350,000 can't buy me a doghouse where I live, and that's correct. We got it at a massive discount, which was, if it was listed on the market, it would be double that. Minimum, right? It would be much, much higher. But what we realized is it was a timing play, right? We caught him at the right moment. So gentleman's name is Ed. Ed is from a tertiary market of Indianapolis, Indiana, where he owns a carpeting company, and then he also owned 17 other single-family homes and this 10-unit apartment building. For Ed, for some reason, the 10-unit apartment building was more of a headache than his 17 other single-family homes. So he just simply wanted to keep the single family. Maybe he was more comfortable with it. Maybe, I don't know why. Keep his business, obviously, because those were taking up all of his time, and he just wanted to get rid of this 10-unit. And that was why we were able to get a great price. So we brought average rents from $465 a month, and they're now at $825 a month, right? It was summer 2021, so it's not even been it's been about 2 years now, right? So that's massive, right? That was a huge deal, massive amount of cash flow that thing spits off, and we're looking kind of to time rates a little bit better where we're at in the marketplace for refinancing and pulling out 100% of what we've put into that. All the money's coming out on that deal for sure. But that was just a straight up transaction. We sent him a text message, and then within a month, we had this thing under contract. That's one of your home runs, diamonds in the rough. That's not usually how direct to seller works, right? You don't usually just get lucky. Usually it's building a relationship. So the other one was we bought an 8-unit apartment building in Michigan, right? This guy also owned local businesses, and he just happened to have an apartment building as well, and it was doing well, right? There was no issues with it whatsoever. But this was more of a relationship. So this was multiple months of talking to them, and eventually he goes, "All right, I'd be interested in selling. Let me take a look at let me talk to my CPA. Let me see what the value is. All right, we want this amount for it." I go, "I think I could get up to that amount," and it was much. It was probably half of what I was like willing to pay, right? And I'm like, "Let me check the numbers again. Let me make sure this works out," And so within 24 hours, I was sending him an offer, right? He gets the offer. He goes, "All right, let's do this." In that 48-hour timeline where before he signs it, he goes to talk to his CPA and his lawyer and just confirm everything. One of his other associates from a different business comes in and goes, "I will pay more than that for that building." Meanwhile, I am in Taos, New Mexico on a snowboarding trip, snowboarding work trip, because that was with some other investors of mine. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, I thought we had this locked up. I'd already kind of pre-celebrated, if I'm being honest. Valerie was like, "All right, we definitely have this under contract." So what happens is I'm getting ready to board my flight. I go, this is because we built this relationship. It's totally necessary to have good relationships. I go, "I am going to send you another offer at a much higher price, and it is going to be a good enough price where you can go tell your business associate in another business that it is in my best interest for my family to accept Justin's offer." And I submitted it when I was boarding my flight, and by the time I landed, it was signed, and we still got it at a massive discount. Obviously, I had to pay more. It was probably paid 20% more. But that thing is an absolute cash cow for us, and we just looked at the numbers. We've almost doubled the value of that property in less than a year. So these are the type of off-market stuff that's possible. Obviously, these are some of the small stuff. We've started to build the relationships where now we have the big stuff coming in as well. So we're going to do this exact same thing with 20 units, with 30 units, with 40, 50 unit properties. And it's just, at this point, that's why we're trying to get that 300 units by 30. I mean, it's going to be incredible the amount of scale that you can do and how quickly you can do it when, you're off market, you're not having to go through a broker, you're just talking straight to the seller. Let's get this deal done. Let's figure out numbers. And those are the two deals that I'm most proud about, as far as one was a lot easier. The other one had to work a little bit harder. It was a little stressful, but that's just like the power of direct sellers right there. Relationships turn into deals.
Right, exactly. And if you're using a broker or a realtor, if you're in residential, you have that person in between you. You can't really find out. I mean, you're relying on them to find out the pain points. Why are they wanting to sell? You're relying on their relationship to represent you. And I mean, if I'm going to residential, because there's a lot of people in residential too. You're probably dealing with at least two between you. They're telling their realtor, who's telling it's just so much easier when you're dealing directly with the seller. You're able to get a feel for maybe the pain that they're going through. Why are they wanting to sell? Is there something going on in the family? I mean, all of that plays in a part of creating an offer that makes sense for them and to creating something strategic that is a win-win for both sides. So that's phenomenal. And the other thing I want to throw out there is when you have a deal flow like that and it's direct to seller and you've got a pipeline coming in, you've got options. You don't have to buy everything. You can, I'd say, utilize the leftovers in the sense that you can wholesale, like you mentioned. You can do all kinds of creative financing or partnering, JV. You could do things with the deals that you just can't take down maybe on your own or with the partners that you have on hand. So that is it's an awesome system. I'm really excited about using it.
Yeah, you can just, the leftovers is funny because we actually, early 2022, we had at one point 4 deals under contract all at the same time. And I was so stressed. It was just too much. And what essentially we did was we just wholesaled one of them, right? It was found an end buyer, did a double close transaction where the same day I bought it at a lower price, sold it at a higher price to somebody else, walked away with that middle portion, and everybody was happy. But that was much easier than trying to go, line up the lending and everything to go buy it. So you're right. It gives you options, but it also the funny thing is, because when we had multiple deals going on, you don't have to get, I don't know how to word it, but you don't have to freak out if one deal doesn't work out, right? So you almost have like a negotiation. You have stuff to fall back on, so you're not as having to just like sell out on the only deal that comes in front of you and overpay, or just totally give in on all the negotiations just to try to make it work. Whereas you have a lot more negotiating power when you say, "Hey, I understand, can't do that. We need you to fix this stuff with the inspection. If not, we have this deal lined up that we're going to actually go after instead." So just want, if you guys want to make the deal work, let us know. If not, hey, no problem. We're going to go buy this one instead. So that gives you a lot more credibility, gives you a lot more negotiating power. And, if you want to, if you're stressed out like me, just go wholesale one, make some, I think we made 30 or 40 grand on that. So just go make a little profit on the side as well.
Yeah, and that's important, especially in this market. If you're, trying to come up with cash, the hobby of real estate's expensive in the sense that you're always broke. You're always growing, and it's very profitable, but you're always quote unquote broke. So, having the ability to generate chunks of cash is very valuable, especially if you're collecting real estate long term. Well, Justin, I've really enjoyed this. This has been awesome. If people want to get a hold of you, or if people want to look into your DTS system, what's the best way to reach out?
Yeah, so get a hold of me through social media, Cashflow Cowboy. But then if you guys are interested, anyone's interested in that DTS system, we have a little bit of a wait list right now, but get signed up, or at least check us out, nostressdts.com, nostressdts.com, and that's the goal, right? Taking the stress out of the DTS system. We'll set up everything for you, give you all the resources you need, and then get you access to our monthly accountability coaching calls as well.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm excited, and I appreciate you hopping on, talking about this. This is exciting to me because we're implementing it right now as we speak. And so I appreciate you hopping on today, talking about it, and sharing what you've learned and the experiences that you've had. So thanks so much, Justin.
Thanks, Valerie. Appreciate you.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took the time to invest in yourself and to learn with me today. If you're interested in joining a group of like-minded people, I want to personally invite you to our free networking group where you can make connections and build relationships with people who are working together to generate wealth. Just click the link that is included in the show notes, and I hope to see you there.